Hi there, this video is an exam paper walkthrough of the AQA GCSE Mathematics Foundation Tier Paper 2 from summer 2023. This paper is worth 80 marks in total, and this is the first video of 4. It will focus on questions 1 to 6, which account for 22 of these marks. AQA paper 2s are calculator papers, so a calculator should be used. A little disclaimer, there may be more than one way to answer a question. The methods shown in this video are not the only way some mathematical skills can be applied. Okay, let's get started. Question 1. A. Here is a number line. What number is at x? So we have x marked here, so we need to figure out what each of these intervals on the number line are worth. So what is it counting up in? So to go from 0 to 20, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 intervals that we pass. Well, 20 divided by 4, remember, it's a calculator paper. Use your calculator. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So each of these are worth 5. So that would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and then 40. So x is at 35. 1b, here is a different number line. What number is at y? So this time we need to be careful because we're starting with a negative number, going to 0 and then going to 6. So from negative 6 to 0, it's still going 6. So we're going up 6. So let's see how many intervals there are. 1, 2, 3 to get to 0. So we're going to do 6 divided by 3 at this point. Again, if you need to, double check it on your calculator. Better safe than sorry on this calculator paper. So 6 divided by 3 equals 2. So each of these intervals have gone up 2 spaces. So from -6 up 2 would be -4. This is why we need to be careful. And then from -4 we would go to -2, then 0, 2, 4 and 6. So y is at -2. Question 2. Match each expression on the left with the simplified expression on the right. One has been done for you. So they've matched 14a subtract 2a with 12a because 14a subtract 2a is equal to 12a once we simplify it, when we collect those like terms. What you'll notice is there's more boxes on this side than here, so we're not going to need to use all of them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down this left hand side and I'm going to simplify each of these expressions. So 3a add 4a is 7a in total. 3a times 3a, so 3 times 3 is 9. A times a would be a squared. 6 times 3a, 6 times 3, 18a. And then 12a divided by 4. Well, 12 divided by 4 is 3, so that would leave me with 3a. So now I know what they simplify to. I can match them up to the other side. So 3a plus 4 is going to get matched to 7a. 3a multiplied by 3a is going to get matched to 9a squared. 6 multiplied by 3a is going to match to 18a. And then 12a divided by 4 is going to get matched to 3a. And we didn't need to use that last box there at the bottom. Question 3. Here are some shapes. Each shape has an area of 6 square centimetres. 3a. Which has the bigger perimeter, shape A or shape B? You must show the lengths of both perimeters. So we're using shape A and shape B, and we're going to find out the perimeter. So, perimeter of shape A. So we're going to count all the way around the outside the shape. So the perimeter is all the way around the outside. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So the perimeter of A is 14. We're now going to do the same but this time for B, so we can compare them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now I've numbered them as I was going round. 1, to make sure I didn't miss any of the sides of the squares, and 2, to make sure that if I lost my train of thought or I lost concentration, I didn't forget where I'd gotten to. So the perimeter of A is 14, the perimeter of B is 12, so the bigger perimeter is shape A. 3B, which shape is congruent to shape A? So congruent means exactly the same. It may be rotated, so it may be a different orientation, but congruent means it's exactly the same shape. All of the sides are the same length, so we could put one shape on top of the other and they would match. So we're going to find out which shape this is. The best way to do this is using tracing paper. You're allowed tracing paper in your exams, so when you go into your mock exams and things in the future, if you don't have it on your exam desk, then ask for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace round shape A, and then I'm going to use this as a template and pop it on the other shapes to see if it's the same shape or not. Okay, so B is definitely not the same shape, and C is definitely not the same shape, because these two squares that are stuck out are on the same side, whereas on shape A, those two squares are on opposite sides. So D has squares on opposite sides, and F has squares on opposite sides. I'm going to ignore these three. So we're going to use this piece of tracing paper and see if we can fit it exactly on top of either of these. So let's start with shape D. So if I stick it like this at the moment, it doesn't match. If you can see there, those squares. But if I flip it over, it fits on top exactly. So that tells me that A and D are congruent. So I'm going to pop D on the answer line, and I'm just going to double check F. So if I pop the shape on that way, then this square matches, but this square here is on the wrong end of the shape. So I know that F is definitely not congruent. So always ask for tracing paper in your exams, your mock exams, assessments, etc., because it's a really useful piece of kit and you can have it. 3C. Which two shapes fit together to make a rectangle? Now, B isn't going to fit with any of these other shapes to make a rectangle. F, A and D have got these side pieces that are going to be annoying, so they're not going to fit. So I'm looking like it's going to be E and C, but again I can check, because what I can do is I can trace over one of them with my tracing paper, and then I can see if I put it together if it's going to form that rectangle, and it does. So for part C, E and C fit together to make a rectangle. Okay, 3D. On this grid, draw a reflection of shape C and show your mirror line. So we can reflect this shape anywhere, so you just need to draw yourself a mirror line. So that's just a line you're going to reflect this shape over. So I'm just going to draw a line here, and what I've done is I've made sure that it's exactly a full square away, not halfway through a square, because that makes my life a little bit more difficult to be accurate. And then I'm going to reflect this shape over this line. So if I take this corner of the shape, it's one square away, so it needs to be one square away on the other side of the line. If I take this corner of the shape, one square away, so it needs to be one square on the other side of the line. So I can then draw the first part of my shape. This next one is 1, 2, 3 squares away, so 1, 2, 3 squares away for that top side. And then at this point, you can either draw the shape in, or you can do it a point at a time. So this corner here, 1, 2, 1, 2, so that's going to be there. And then once you see the shape forming, draw the rest of it in, or map all the corners of the shape and then draw it in. So it doesn't matter where you draw that mirror line, as long as you draw it and you reflect over it. But remember to make sure it's on an exact line. You don't want it like partway through a square, because that gets a little bit messy. Question 4. Points P and Q are shown on the grid. So we've got P and Q. Write down the coordinates of P. So for the coordinates, we go along the x-axis first. So P lines up with 4 on the x. So that's the first part of our coordinate. And then we go to the y-axis and P is opposite 3. So the coordinate of P is 4, 3. 4b, angle PQR is a right angle. Work out possible coordinates for R. So angle PQR, so PQ, R needs to be over here somewhere, so we could do the angle inside. And a right angle means that we want the line that would be made with Q to R to be perpendicular. It wants to go off at that right angle. So if we were to add a line here, it doesn't ask us to, but if we were to add a line, R could be any point on this line, because they're all at a right angle here for angle PQR. So we can pick any of these points to read off the coordinate and we're going to get this mark. So let's just go with this point here. So x first is 2, and then the y is minus 3. So 2 minus 3 for our coordinate there. Question 5a. A shop sells bottles of orange juice. Each bottle costs 75 pence. Work out the greatest number of bottles that can be bought with £5. So I want to see how many 75 pences will fit into £5. So £5 as a decimal would be that, and then 75 pence as a decimal would be this. So I'm going to do £5 divided by 0.75. It's a calculator paper. So 5 divided by 0.75 is 6.66. Recurring. Now it wants the greatest number of bottles that can be bought with £5. We can only buy 6. 6, this whole number part here is the most we could buy at 75 pence a bottle, because we can't buy 0.6 recurring of a bottle. So the greatest number of bottles that can be bought is 6. 5b. 2 shops sell bottles of apple juice. Shop X has a pack of 4 bottles. It was £2.50, but there's now 10% off. Shop Z has a pack of 12 bottles for £7. At which shop is it cheaper to buy 24 bottles? Show working to support your answer. So we're going to work out how much 24 bottles would be for each shop. So I'm going to start with shop Z. So 12 bottles, proportion table again, I like these. For £7 we get 12 bottles. If we want 24 bottles, we need to multiply it by 2. We need to double it. And then 7 times 2 is 14. So shop Z would be £14 for 24 bottles. Now we're going to look at shop X. This one's a little bit trickier. So we get 4 bottles for £2.50, but there's 10% off. So the first thing we need to do is find 10% of £2.50. So to find 10%, we divide by 10. So £2.50 divided by 10 is equal to 0.25. So that's 25 pence. So we're going to get 25 pence off that. So £2.50, subtract that 0.25 is £2.25. Remember, this is for 4 bottles, okay? So if we're doing a proportion table again, so for £2.25, we get 4 bottles. We want 24. 24 divided by 4 is 6, so we would times by 6. So we need to do that on the other side to find out the total cost in shop X. So 2.25 times by 6 is £13.50. So shop Z is £14 and shop X is £13.50. £13.50 is less than £14, so it's cheaper to buy the bottles at shop X. Question 6. A game has 4 cards labelled A, B, C and D. Ellie picks 2 of the cards at random. Complete the list of 6 possible pairs of cards that she could pick. So she could pick A and B, A and C, A and D, B and C, B and D, and then C and D. So we're not repeating letters because she's only picking the cards once, but there's our 6 possible pairs. So we've gone through AC and AD, and then BC and BD, and then CD.